Hello and welcome to the Tapas and Pretzels podcast. Welcome Tim, welcome David, and also Mark. We also can change the name in this podcast, Tapas and Pretzels, and add tacos, so tapas and pretzels and tacos, because Mark, I think you are actually Mexican. So hello and welcome. Thank you that you're here. So hi Mark, I know
Hi,
you
everybody.
quite longer. And you also work. Oh, so what are you doing? You work as a consultant, right? And also as a researcher at the FIU University, especially in the topic data science and AI. So quite a interesting and I would say recent topic. So I think this will also be our topic for today. So I have a question for you, especially I'm also a little bit in that topic right now, and I'm also have some projects in there. And I mentioned, or I recognize that AI is not that easy, especially in a business context. So, what do you think about AI? Because it's like a hot phrase, AI everywhere, but I think it's not that easy. Would you agree with me?
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me, first of all. To begin with, it's an interesting question. I'm a researcher now, external researcher at FAU, and come from the data science field, even highly specialized with graph data structures. However, in my consulting experience, I have done some internal and external projects. And I would say the difficulty about AI is exactly the buzzword AI. Because so you need to get a common definition always. What do you mean with AI? Um, when we people that are experts, workers that really implement AI projects, they make a differentiation between AI, machine learning, and maybe data science. Yeah. And this may be not the case for the common customer. AI basically can be everything. There are definitions even that say, hey, AI is an autonomous system. An autonomous system can be rule-based. Is that AI as we understand it these days? Not quite sure. But at the end of the day, you need to basically, the biggest challenge, in my opinion, is to let the customer understand that this kind of systems based on models that can learn through data, yeah, and therefore in its basic characteristic behave probabilistic. So you have to do with a probabilistic system, yeah. And this is completely different. It's a paradigm shift to deterministic systems as traditional computer science, where you have an input and you expect the output to be always 100% the same output. And this is really difficult because a lot of customers think make AI and they expect a deterministic system. And this will never be the case. If you base your AI system purely on probabilistic models, you will never have 100%. Even if it's one of 10,000 cases, this one of 10,000 cases may go wrong. And you need to ask the right questions. Is one of 10,000 cases for your business process, is it critical if it goes wrong? Or are we in the healthcare where maybe it is really critical? Yeah. So it depends on that at the end of the day. Yeah? How critical is it that the AI system makes errors, and how often is it allowed to make errors compared to humans?
But I think that not only how critical is the process, but also if you have enough data and the right data for do that kind of processing, because I agree with you. People tend to think that AI will solve everything, and if you do like that, you will get those results, and that's not true. You need a thing of mindset. We are used to work with in a deterministic world, but with AI, we are starting to deal in an uncertain world. You know, you provide inputs and you don't know what are you going to take.
But this is then once
This is
you
great,
establish
amazing,
establish
great.
basically the knowledge about what you're talking about, this is usually then the next hurdle. We have the data for it, and most of the time the answer is no.
Yeah.
But actually,
Uh,
what you do is basically to phrase it in short, like garbage in, garbage out. I mean, it's a well-known saying, but it applies completely to the AI sentence. Would you agree?
in general, yes, I would agree. Garbage in, garbage out. Yeah. The 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 data dependency, in my opinion, is getting a little bit light weighted these days, or we're destroying a little bit this dependency, or at least weakening the dependency to the data. Why? Because now we have these kind of models that are massively pre-trained, that understand already the question or the problem just via asking the right questions to the model without showing him a lot of data. This so-called in-context learning, or one, best example, this GPT-4 3 models, where before you had to show him a lot of text so that he, for example, can answer you or can identify you key information in text. These days, you just need to formulate the problem in such a way that it understands what it needs to do, and it achieves to have the same result as with a system that was trained with, I don't know, 4,000 examples. So this is shifting a little bit. However, we will never destroy that dependency, because every AI system will need at least some evaluation phase. You need to evaluate how good it works. And usually you evaluate it with the real data. So at the end of the day, you will have to need data that is some kind human labeled with a lot of effort, latest at the evaluation phase of your system. So the data dependency will always be there, yes. And it's also something to teach the customer about really early.
So would you say that the term data governance, where people actually are trying to identify what are the best processes to improve data quality, I think that's something which is more crucial than ever. Even so, people don't align the term data governance even with AI. I think people not really recognize that it's really belong to each other. But would you agree on that as well?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. You know, we have talked about this of governance many times in our podcast. You know what happens with integration governance. You know, everything in your system should be governed. Why? Because govern means standardization, and standardization takes you to coherence, and coherence takes you to manageability. So you need, in complex systems, you need to have that level of control. So it's not only about technology. It's also about how are you going to manage that technology. For example, in APIs, everybody put the focus on APIs, but what happens with the data you are exposing? You know, if you are exposing, if your data architecture or your data governance or whatever related with data is not good, what you are going to expose won't be good also. So APIs is the point of the main point of consumption and exposure, but you need to be tired to have a good quality with a good data governance processes and with a good data architecture in place.
Absolutely. I think what is also quite important there is responsibility. It's something which is often underestimated, but only if people taking responsibility for either the API or the data, because I mean, we talk mainly about APIs, but also it's true for data that people have to take responsibility for their own data. So someone is owning the data about a certain topic or a domain. And I think only if we have the responsibility in the organization well established, and then this is the fundamental point to start off with quality. Because if someone is responsible for the data quality, he has an interest of improving the data quality, which in the end then will improve data science output, as Mark described. I mean, it all comes down to data. It's again data, data, and data.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, if you want to, in my opinion, speaking about the enterprise context right now, so if you, as an enterprise, big enterprise, want to somehow leverage AI and data science use cases, in my opinion, really the fundament is to have your data well managed, to know what data do you have, and for what it is used in your enterprise. So which business processes, and also what people tend to forget is decision processes. So I like to differentiate both. You have business processes that maybe are straightforward or complex, but a lot of these business processes have decisions inside it. These decisions can be really easy, can happen every day. And when you do a wrong decision, it doesn't impact a lot the future of the business. But you can have really complex decision process that happen rare, but have a strong strategic impact on the business. For example, if a business wants to acquire another business, a company acquires another company, it's a huge complex decision process. So you need to really understand what data generates my organization. Where does the data come from? Do I generate it internal? Do I get it external? And then for what it is used at the end of the day. And this must be somehow integrated in tooling, in a system that allows you to answer those questions, allows you to search easily for the data, to manage the data in a sense that you have high data quality. And once you understand actually the digital twin of your organization, because at the end of the day, it is that, yeah. How does your organization behave and what is its relationship to data? Then you can basically create way better AI use cases than if you would just brainstorm without looking at the data or at your processes. Then it's playing a little bit around with the buzzwords, but you need to have a data-driven, process-driven analysis to come to identify, okay, which AI use cases are feasible because we have the data, we have the technology, and we have maybe the models, and then to prioritize them. So it's completely really this fundament. Once you have it as an organization, I think you lay really the grounds for a lot of AI and data science use cases.
I think a lot of companies are actually currently aiming for being a data-driven decision-making company. I think that's also somewhere in the media. And I mean, therefore, they all try to leverage these AI use cases. But it again brings me back to the data, and you describe it pretty well. Like these, how is data connected to each other? Like that's currently also some kind of hype word, like the semantic layer in an enterprise. Mark, do you have an? Can you explain what do you understand with with that term semantic layer? You said it earlier, I think.
Yes, I said it earlier. So semantic layer. So it begins with the word semantic. What is semantic? Semantic is, so there are three levels: syntax, semantic, and pragmatic. And semantic is syntax. If you take a text, is basically the connections of language, pure technical language behavior, like subject, predicate, object. This is a subject, has a connection to this predicate, and so on. You can understand language like that. But how we humans are really good at understanding language. This is what we are teaching GPT-4 and 5 and 6 is understanding the semantics behind it. So if I speak about what is a good example for a redundant definition in so in German the word chair has two basically understandings. Yeah, you have the chair in the medical sense. That means a whole other things than the chair in the IKEA sense context. So you have one word that is named the same, but depending on the context, it switches its meaning. So semantics is all about the meaning of the data, dependent on the context. Yeah. And what a semantic layer does is basically connect different data points or data tables you have in your company with business processes in a way that you understand, okay, for example, the user profile is used for application A, and application A is used in process B, C, and D. And process B, C, and D have a connection also to this other data. They use, for example, a, I don't know, Schufa system to get a scoring. So you connect data with its meaning on how it is used in your enterprise. And this meaningful connection is what we understand in a semantic layer under semantics. So what you do is basically in your system architecture, you establish a layer that basically is able to integrate information of different data sources, data warehouses, but on the other hand, not always saves again data in a new data warehouse or data system, but is able to tell you where the data is stored, for what it is used, what it is, what business meaning is behind the data, and how to retrieve the data. So at the end, where, why, how. Now, where is the data? How do I access the data? And why? Why is it there? For what it is used? And this is the three basic answers that a semantic layer can answer.
I find quite interesting what you have said about the context. I think that one of the, I would say, main contribution of AI is that before AI, not because of the AI, but because of the technological moment we were living, we have the data, but they were segmented into context. But thanks to AI and the improvement of the calculation power given by AI, we are able to integrate also the context as another variable, not as only a segmentation criteria. And that's why AI results or big data analysis results and whatever is having so great impact in transversal markets. Because we are able to change context, I would say, dynamically, to get some conclusions and to take decisions on those conclusions in a dynamical way.
I just thinking about, like, most companies always struggle like to align on common applications, and also like who is owning which API for what reason. And now companies have to align on the data objects and also like on the semantic context about it. What is meant about for customer example? What does it mean a customer for each and every business division? So now the companies are actually in front of the business problem, like to align what is the context, what are different contexts, what does this object mean in the context. I think there is a long way to go until we get a business alignment on this in all cases, but I think it's quite necessary before we can unleash the power of AI capabilities or machine learning or data science capabilities, as I said correctly. Interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there is one of the a classic example, is, so you decided in your enterprise architecture to integrate a lot of APIs, so data services. Makes sense. What happens if you do that without context or without these semantic meanings behind the data? So you have a data service, it gives you a JSON out, and one of the keys is, I don't know, maybe here it's called account, just called account. Another data service gives you the same ID, account, but how do you know that those both, it's called the same keys, account and account? Is it the value that comes out from this data service, is it the one and the same data table? Is it the same data table? Yeah. Or are we speaking about two different accounts? Because I don't know, the one has another meaning in this data domain, in this data service, instead of the first one. Yeah. And if you integrate a semantic layer, developers can more quickly construct new data services, because they don't need to have meetings or ask the people around, hey, what did you mean with data with account? what kind of data comes out there? But they can look into the semantic layer, how the data is described, and again, what, where, why, and how, and understand really easily, okay, this is what the key account means, and I don't need to ask anybody about it. I have a self-service system that provides me not only data, but good documentation about the data, that has meaning to me, as a developer, as a user, or whatever. At the end of the day, meaning is always for humans, that we are able to understand for what the data is for. This is a little bit shifting also, because these days we are also creating meaning for LLM agents or machines. Yeah? They can use meaning the same way as humans in order to reason more accurately about user questions. So meaning is really everything. The ones of the audience here that have tried prompts, you know that the more context you give in a prompt, so context is nothing more than meaning, the more accurate it will behave, the language model in answering.
Absolutely couldn't agree more.
Okay, so you would say also I think in niche or branch, or what is the English word for that? Like company, or not topic, but if you work in a specific
Domain? Branch?
maybe domain. I'm not sure if you work at a bank, especially with sensitive data or like medical data. So it's really important that you have correct data, and I think this will get the AI topic a bit more important, and also the data topic much more important than AI, I would say, because without data, I guess no AI. So yeah, thank you, Mark, that you were here to our podcast. It was really interesting. This hot topic, I think it will be much more relevant also in the future. So yeah, thanks, Mark, and also you too. And yeah, do you want to say something, Mark? You can.
Yes.
You can.
Yeah. Thank you very much for inviting me. A really interesting topic, and I don't know about you guys, but I could also spend more hours here talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that there is great potential in this, really, in this, semantic data integration technology, married with the newest AI that is happening, AI development. It has a lot of potential, in my opinion. So we have a lot to talk about.
Can we summarize it in the way that we say, if you want to have a business useful AI, you need to get your data right, or get your data into context? Something.
Yes, I mean, Ivan, I have shown you once of my many slides that I present, Tim. You remember the one with the pyramid? So, my opinion. So, if you wanna think about, if you wanna leverage AI for your AI use cases, so really create value, implementing AI use case, first need to ground, fundament this is all about understanding your data, processing your data right, and integrating your data in a way that it's not understandable and searchable efficiently and effectively by humans, but also by machines. Once you have that data ground settled, you can process your data with human capabilities, human processes, but with basically the three main machine learning processing systems, a language models that can process sequential data, computer vision models that can process grid data, and then the last one, network models that can process all this linked data. And if you have this technology of how to process these models, how that are able to process different data structures, you have everything in your data platform or semantic data platform, then the possibilities to create data AI-driven use cases are endless, hypothetically speaking.
See us at the next podcast. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.